Ed Miliband has sensationally claimed the government could not organise a P-up in a brewery, after Theresa May's latest Brexit talks with Brussels were branded a shambles. The former Labour leader said the Prime Minister and her Conservative colleagues were a bunch of jokers, after Mrs May appeared to make major concessions in talks with the EU on Monday. Mr Miliband took to Twitter to launch his astonishing attack, claiming the government were making it up as you go along, appearing to refer to yesterday's crunch talks. He wrote on the social media site, "What an absolutely ludicrous, incompetent, absurd, make it up as you go along, couldn't run a P-up in a brewery bunch of jokers there are running the government at the most critical time in a generation for the country." It comes after the Prime Minister was criticised for coming back empty-handed from talks with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. Time is now running out for Mrs May to persuade leaders of the remaining 27 EU nations at a summit on December 14-15 that sufficient progress has been made on divorce issues. This must be accepted before negotiations can move on to the second phase, in which trade and the transmission to a new relationship between the EU and Britain will be discussed. Theresa May and European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker talks over lunch on Monday after failure to get the green light for trade talks at next week's summit would risk throwing the whole Brexit process into crisis. Others who jumped to criticise Mrs May's latest talks was Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. He said the government was completely ill-equipped to negotiate a successful Brexit deal for our country. Labour MP for Hove Peter Kyle added, after days of upbeat briefing, the PM comes home pathetically empty-handed. Irish Taoiseach Leo Varadkar surprised and disappointed at lack of Brexit deal. So really there's differences on a couple of issues, but they've only been discussing 3 issues since negotiations started. He added, "This is a shambles that puts into perspective the constitutional settlement for our country here.